Good evening, English 353 students. My name is Dana Clark and this is my Cinderella adaptation project. So the three adaptations that I was going to be looking at are Ye Shin by Ang Lee Louie, Aschenputtel by Bruder Grimm, the Brothers Grimm, and Cinderella, the Little Glass Slipper by Charles Perrault. So Ye Shin, the characters are pretty standard, pretty basic. Ye Shin is Cinderella. There's an evil stepmother, evil sister, and then there's a fish, which proves to be his sort of constant companion throughout the story. The plot is it's set in China. The stepmother is jealous of Shin's beauty and tries to make her life as miserable as possible. The rising action of the story is that the stepmother kills and cooks Ye Shin's fish, not her fish necessarily, but her friend, which supposedly had magical bones to them. And so Ye Shin, there's a festival just like the classic Cinderella tale, in which she tries to attend that festival. She is spotted by her stepmother and her sister, and then flees home, leaves the slipper behind. Somebody finds it, sells it to the king, and Ye Shin, I believe, tries to pick it up, and the king follows her, has her put it on, and then she essentially fits into it, just like the classic story, and they marry. And the stepmother and sister are forced to live into a cave until they're essentially stoned to death, which is a rather morbid image, I'd say. And so the pervasive theme is that good triumphs evil. And so there are definitely some similarities and some stark differences in terms of the sort of adaptation that Louis is trying to accomplish here. And so, yeah, with that we'll move on to the next slide. Aschenputtel is the German version by the Brothers Grimm. The two brothers who were very, very popular for writing their folklores and folk tales and things of that nature. I think there was a movie actually made on it. It's called The Brothers Grimm, with starring Heath Ledger, and I think he was Matt Damon, if I'm not mistaken, but that's neither here nor there. So the characters are Cinderella. Aschenputtel is the name given to her, which is a girl of ashes. There are evil stepmother, sisters. In this case, the father is around. Her mother is dead, but the spirit of her mother is seen throughout the story and is sort of her guide. And also doves and a white bird that are also key to helping Cinderella on her endeavors, and a Prince Charming. So a father marries an evil woman with just as evil daughters. They're forced Aschenputtel to work in Cinder. There's a royal ball to pick his wife. However, Aschenputtel cannot attend the ball because of all of the chores and tasks that her mother and sisters gave her to do, but the doves help. A white bird even provides her a dress. Again, she's caught. Her stepmother sees her, bolts. She leaves behind a golden slipper, it looks like, and then the prince retrieves it, trying to find who the owner is. The daughters even go to desperate measures to cut off the toes for it to fit. Ashton fits in the shoe. The prince and her marry, and live happily ever after. However, the sort of demise of the sisters is a rather grim one. If you know, if you sort of catch my drift there, the little play on words. But the sisters' eyes are plucked out by pigeons so that they're blind. But the pervasive theme of the story is one of obedience. In the beginning, there is an admonition of Cinderella's mother to remain pious and good and obedient. Aschenputtel is noted as doing that, remaining pious, obedient, and kind, and that pays off at the end. So essentially, obedience wins out, even despite the sort of initial difficulties that come with it. And then, last but not least, is Cinderella the Little Glass Slipper by Charles Perrault. There's Cinderella, an evil stepmother, with sisters. There's a fairy godmother, a pumpkin carriage, and a glass slipper. So elements of the adaptation we're most familiar with, I'd say. And so, excuse me. The plot is a classic tale: evil stepsister, evil stepsisters, and evil stepmother who force Cinderella to work under harsh conditions. To sort of stomp out any life that she has or desires to have. There's a ball. There's a prince and royalty. Same thing happens. She bolts. Glass slipper, and turns out it fits her foot, and she marries the king. However, there's a different end of this one than the others. As you harken back to the Brothers Grimm version, the sisters' eyes are plucked out, and then Yixin version is the sisters are stoned to death. In this tale, the sisters are forgiven, and Cinderella lives happily ever after. And pervasive themes in this one are kindness and patience. One thing to note is that they all essentially overlap at some level with the sort of morals that they're trying to tell. So, in a conclusion, Cinderella is a staple folk tale for many cultures. Cinderella has become an archetypal character of the persecuted heroine, but over time his triumph over evil. It's sort of a tale describing guidance of some sort of presiding being or individual that guides Cinderella, even though she is confronted with difficult times. But she keeps her character, which is sort of exemplified in her inner kindness, but also even more highlighted in her outer beauty. It's interesting that the authors create the evil stepsisters. Yes, they're evil inside, but they're also evil outside. And the same goes for Cinderella, but the opposite. Her inner beauty is capitalized by her outer beauty. So that concludes my adaptation project, and thank you.